So here are 4 numbers you want to know. When you first go into solo practice, you have one simple goal, and that is to bring in revenues. But a lot of surgeons are surprised to learn that you can bring in a lot of revenues without actually turning a profit. And how is that even possible? Well, it happens when you don't know your numbers. Now, maybe you're making decisions based on bad information. Maybe there was a problem that you didn't catch in time. Or maybe you were so focused on running your practice that the numbers fell by the wayside. Now, it's essential that you know your numbers so you can pinpoint problems before they get out of hand, and you can more easily plan for the future. But you may find financial information intimidating, so maybe you are trusting it to your accountant and bookkeeper. But think about how much peace of mind you would have if you knew your numbers were in good shape and your practice was strong and healthy. Because numbers help identify where your practice is leaking money. Now, when you run regular financial reports, you see how much you're spending on certain expenses, and you know to question the expenses when they appear higher than what you planned. For example, you may notice how high your advertising expenses are, and once you've identified that, you can question if that's money well spent or money down the drain. You would also know which services are making you the most money. Now, you can measure the profit margins of each procedure to know which is more profitable and where the weaknesses are in the ones with the lower margins. That way, you can make adjustments with the expenses and fees for that procedure to decide if it's worth focusing on. And you would have a clear understanding of how much your practice needs to earn to meet your annual goals. Now, when you understand how much revenue you need to bring in to make a profit, it helps establish goals. You will understand what revenue level your practice needs to achieve to break even. Now, here's the best part. When you keep your numbers in check, it reduces your expenses, thereby adding more profit. And more profit means more money in your pocket. Business is all about the numbers, and your numbers are telling you a story. So these 4 numbers should be measured and reviewed regularly since they are the foundation of a cosmetic practice. Now here's number 1, lead generation. Where do the best leads come from? How many do you need to generate? And what actually generates them? If you don't know this, it's likely you're going to waste lots of money on things that are generating the wrong kinds of leads. Or potentially worse, you'll abandon a lead generation tactic that actually is working, so you want to leave it alone. Now, of course, this means that you must be tracking which leads convert to procedures and which patients are most profitable. By the way, it's much harder to increase the number of leads significantly and much easier to double or triple your lead conversion number once you start paying attention to it. Just saying. Here's number 2, percentage of leads converted. Do you know what percentage of your leads actually turn into cash paying patients? Now, the biggest resource killer of all practices is the chasing of leads that are not qualified, not educated about you, and they're not ready to appreciate the unique value you have to offer. So when you start to measure this and discover how low your conversion rates actually might be from initial phone call to a patient saying yes, you'll want to fix it. It's too painful otherwise when you see how much money you're losing when callers don't book appointments and consults don't book paid procedures. Now here's number 3, cost per patient acquisition. Every new cosmetic patient comes with a cost. By measuring that cost with some sort of value to your practice over time, you have a metric that can determine what you can actually afford to spend to acquire patients, and then go to work on lowering that cost while creating more accurate budget forecasts. So look at all of your marketing and advertising expenses and compare it to your new patient revenues for that year. Do those numbers make sense? Through careful lead analysis, you can cut the cost per lead greatly by making better lead spending decisions. And then lastly, number 4, average value of a patient. It's generally much easier to increase your revenues through additional sales to existing patients than to go out and find new ones. Now, you can do this one of 2 ways. You can increase the perceived value of your offerings and raise your fees, or add on other complementary services and or products your existing practicing patients also might want. So as you can see, there's no rocket science with this list, but are you really measuring these 4 significant numbers when it comes to growing your practice? Because the bottom line here is that you deserve better, and so does your practice. When you know your numbers, you make better decisions, avoid unnecessary surprises, and have peace of mind knowing you're on track to reach your goals.